That should do it. There you go. Hey everybody, it's Eddie J on Crypto for GrowMyBag.tv. Hope you're having a good one. What's good, what's good, what's good? As you all know, I normally do not do a Saturday show. But I was sitting here doing some research, going over a few things, and figured there were a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. And so I thought I would get it out there. Tonight's question, what major exchange has partnered to launch crypto IRAs? Again, tonight's question is what major exchange has partnered to launch crypto IRAs? Binance, Kraken, Coinbase, or other. And if you think it's other, drop it in the comments. Now, we've got a lot going on, right? So, retail investors suffered $17 billion in losses as Bitcoin treasury firms like Metaplanet and Strategy, stupid name. You know what? I think I'm going to say that every time I have to say that name. My man, Rick Ritchie, has invested in himself. Thank you very much for letting us know. That's a big deal. Here's to you. That's what's up. Now, $17 billion in losses by retail investors. Now, here's what I like about that headline. It's $17 billion lost by retail investors, right? And that's because of the treasury firms. And you sit there and you kind of go, oh, that's not good for retail investors. And it shakes other retail investors. Unless they join this community and we can talk real deal stuff. Here's the real deal. Everybody suffered losses. They're just attributing that to retail investors. The other thing that you're missing out on is, yes, retail investors stand to get hurt more by those losses, while institutional investors have losses but didn't get hurt as much. Why? Because they can suffer that blow. They can handle that blow and even brush it off, right? Why? Because they've got more money. And what did that more money do via OTC? Buy, baby, buy. That's what happened. The problem is, you need OTC, but then on the other hand, you don't want OTC. OTC standing for over the counter, OTC. What that means is it's basically a deal between two entities. Doesn't matter. Two entities. Could be one person at a company. Two entities to buy direct, right? To buy and sell direct. And sometimes you get a middleman that brokers the deal. In any event, that transaction happens outside of public purview. So, imagine if I had 100 Bitcoin and my level of purchase was X amount. Call it 100 for 100, okay? And $100. And the price goes up to $200. And somebody comes along and says, I'll give you $150 for your 100. And I go, you know what? They got to make money. I got to make money. That's a good deal. Maybe I push a little bit more, whatever. Let's just say it's $150 per Bitcoin. So I have $150 and that person makes $50. But that happens behind the scenes. It doesn't happen in public where the public gets to react to that transaction. Somebody selling, somebody buying. Happens all behind the scenes. Doesn't affect public market rates. Okay? Public market could be at 200. So I have 100 for $100 each. This person offers to buy at 100 by $150 each. Sounds stupid because the market's at 200, right? Let's pretend that the market is at 125. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is what was brokered. What was the deal that was brokered? The risk is that this company that's selling sold for too little. The risk is that this company sold for too high. But the public doesn't see that. The public does not see those transactions. They're point to point, behind closed doors. The public has to deal with publicly traded crypto prices. Okay? So yes, retail, the public, suffered $17 billion in losses. But they're not talking about the losses or gains that happen behind the scenes. If I'm in retail, which I am, I'm not going to allow that to stop me. I'm not going to allow that to get in my way. Why do I say that? Oh, that's because I know a little bit more than the average person. Why? Because I do my own research. I know my entries and exits, and I absolutely invest deliberately. So I pay attention to what's going on. I know for a fact that there's a lot of infrastructure that has been built to basically welcome the new financial system called crypto. Countries around the world, as you've seen me report, are worried about what happens with that financial system. So what do? They go out there, they run out, and they start to purchase what? Or not purchase, but they start to create what? And control what? Create CBDCs, control stablecoins. Aha. There you go. Aloha 8 paws. 8 paws into his house. It's 8 paws, 2 feet. Just saying. The third answer, and I just thank you for letting me know that you have invested in yourself. Your other answer, interesting. We'll get into it in a little bit. Now, we've got 3 votes. That's amazing. That's amazing. We got 3 votes. 2 are for Coinbase. 1 is for Kraken. Interesting. Very interesting. Now, I want you to look at that question, and I want you to try to extrapolate, right? Try to see beyond that question. What do you see? Because I'll tell you what I see. What I see is a tremendous amount of money, of basically untapped money. People are thinking, what are you talking about? What is wrong with you, dude? What's in that glass? Like, what? Hear me out. Just hear me out. What do IRAs represent? IRA stands for Investment Retirement Account. Who didn't see this coming? Somebody was going to do it. It was inevitable. Why do I say that? I don't know. There seems to have been talk about the new regime wanting to allow 401ks to get into the crypto market. Seems that this community was told, hey, there's a new bill that's supposed to back up that executive order. Whoa. What is a 401k used for? Retirement. So that was the first step in going after all that retirement money. How much money do you think is tied up in retirement right now? What's all the talk right now going on about? It's going on about the greatest wealth transfer this world has ever seen. Generational wealth changing hands from one generation to the next. How does that happen? Yeah. Retirement is one of those ways that it happens. Not just wills and trusts and all that stuff, but retirement is one of those ways that it happens. And so you sit there and you kind of go, holy moly, all of the avenues are being open. Something else that happened. Tom Lee, Arthur Hayes come out and they both say Ethereum's going to hit $10,000 by the end of 2025. Not the end of 2026, which everybody would have been like, yeah, I could see that. I could see that in this, the end of 2025. How nuts and insane is that? Hey, Paula, thank you for letting me know that you invest in yourself. That's greatly appreciated. I expected the banks to catch on and offer crypto IRAs. Let's get into that, A-Pause. Let's get into that. What is the one thing that banks have proven to us time and time again? They are huge machines that find it almost ridiculously difficult to change course. Think about that. I want you to think about that. Right now, we've got a whole bunch of banks that are sitting out there talking about, oh yeah, look at us. Yay, yay, yay. We're going to offer crypto. They're going to offer 3 crypto at best. Bitcoin, duh. Ethereum, duh. Solana, questionable. Questionable. How are you looking at Solana all the way up here and no consideration for, I don't know, even BNB that is higher than Solana? XRP. How do you not consider those 2 coins? XRP, mind you, is doing a lot of business with a lot of banks. But you're going to offer Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. Not done yet. Don't say anything. Then you've got the idea that you could have purchased a small exchange. There was a period of time that you could have snatched up Kraken for like $15 billion or less. You could have snatched it up sooner than that. Granted, there were points in time where you could have snatched that up. There were points in times you could have snatched Gemini. Gemini has been rendered basically untouchable at the moment unless you kiss the ring of NASDAQ. Remember that? Yeah. Nobody's really thinking about how NASDAQ invested $50 million in Gemini. That kind of goes, it's kind of off to the side, right? Yeah. Coinbase is too big. You can't touch Coinbase. You done lost your damn mind. You're not buying Coinbase. You'd have to have huge brass to try to touch Coinbase. Huge brass. And I can tell you now, Brian Armstrong, that's not happening. So Coinbase is out the picture, right? Then, of course, Binance, that's not happening. That's not happening. However, could you have stood a chance with Binance.us? Maybe. Why is that? Just hear all the facts before you come at me. Why is that? Well, I don't know. Supposedly, our country is going to allow United States citizens to do business with exchanges that are outside the United States. And when I reported that weeks ago, I told you the reason why that's going to be allowed. It's because the big players, think those that might be associated with, I don't know, people of power within the current administration. Anyway, why is that a big deal? Well, because that would mean that Binance wouldn't have to go through a small investment like Binance.us to get those customers. I'd be able to go back and use my account at Binance. Oh. And there are rumors going around about CZ getting a nod and catching that pardon. Why would that be a good thing? Well, because he's already served the time. What would be the point of the pardon? Friends with the new regime. That would be a point with the pardon. in my humble opinion. Now, pause, you say that banks don't want to change. There's a difference between not wanting to change and being forced to change. Feel me? So banks don't necessarily want to change. Oh, but they have to. They must. Because those that change will remain, and those that don't will wither away. Simple as that. No ifs, ands, buts, or suppose. They will absolutely wither away. Not done yet. Not done yet. Keep your hands down. Not done yet. Then, Paula, give me a moment. Then you look at Jeffries failing. What did that do? Oh my God, that got all kinds of spinal hairs up. Why? Because they're a regional. So all the other regionals come under question. Why? Bad loans. Bad loans. That's why. Remember, for weeks, for months, I've been telling you, as soon as the shackles were taken off of the banking system, traditional banking system, what did I say? I said the traditional banking system today reminds me of the traditional banking system that existed in 2008. Sorry, 2008. Wow. So you start to realize, holy freaking moly. All of this is somehow, some way tied together. I'm not spitting at you about, FUD. I'm spitting facts. I'm laying down facts. Standalone pearls of information that if you run a string through them, you start to realize you've got a nice little pearl necklace. Huh. Interesting, no? Paula, what did you say? I've seen a lot of banks merging and closing, bought on by their inability to give up control. Give up control. Paula. I want you to stop and think about something. All of you. I want you to stop and think about something, because this is going to be the beautiful... that's the wrong word. It's the wrong word. It's going to be a bow. Or a noose. Or a noose. But you're going to see it get tied. Paula says they didn't want to give up control. 8 says they didn't want to change. Both points are absolutely correct. Hear me out. Just let me, before you raise your hand, before you start spouting things at me, hear me out. I told you before that certain industries have been relinquishing their control over technology. And I didn't say it like this, but they have been relinquishing their control over technology by outsourcing jobs, primarily to India, but also to other countries, but primarily to India. So I just find it funny that I almost said my daughter's name, that Paula says that they didn't want to give up control, and that 8 says they don't want to change. That's what's actually leading them down the wrong road. Remember the other day I said, you could be down the road and you're making money, but you're so busy taking money from everywhere that you don't see that this road leads to a dead end. Scheisse. And then you just sit there and you go, and I said that some of these companies are going to have to realize and see that dead end and make a turn and choose a different road to walk down that goes far beyond. And I even described what the dead end is, did I not? I said what the dead end is. The dead end is you've given away all of your intellectual property, not just to another company, but to another country. And at some point, that country is going to look at all of that information, all of those skills, and realize they don't freaking need you anymore. Period. What did my mother say? And I put a period behind that. Think about it. I'm not wrong. I'm not guessing. You have companies out there that have more people working for them. This is the proper way to say it. More people working for them that are not direct employees than they do employees. Oh, I want you to think about this differently. Okay. Then you've got all those people that don't work for this company. They're doing work for this company, but they don't work for that company. You know what I mean? This company has given up their intellectual property, given up their control, gotten rid of entry-level positions, so you don't even have anybody in the pipeline that is going to grow into those leadership or even managerial roles. Okay. And then all of their children, what do? Who's doing the work for them? Because there's only but so far that money will go. Why is that? Why is that? Because you might have money, but you have no more income. We've got money and we have your income because we don't need you anymore. And time is ticking. Time never stops. Time is the one thing that will crush everything in its path. So if these companies don't wake up, what's going to wind up happening? They will have given up control over white-collar jobs, manufacturing. That's right, because we're following currently the same damn path that the United States followed with manufacturing. We gave that up. I mentioned a few weeks ago, not even a few weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago, that we have companies here teaching people here, hear me, and you know it to be true, teaching us how to build cars. Now, at first you think, well, our people are learning new skills and blah, blah, blah. Yes. But I want you to stop and think about this. We used to be the automobile powerhouse, and we used to be the powerhouse because of our skilled workers. And we gave that away. We literally gave that away so that we could earn more money. It was all about the almighty dollar. Get more money by outsourcing. Get more money by outsourcing. That was the whole song. One line. That was the song. Get more money by outsourcing. That's it. We outsourced manufacturing to a point where the United States used to be a manufacturing powerhouse. And now look at our manufacturing facilities. Yeah. Again, I'm not spewing FUD, fear, uncertainty, doubt. That's what FUD stands for. I'm actually giving you facts. So we don't manufacture as much as we used to, not even close. Other countries manufacture far more than us. Name industry, we're not the leader in the manufacturing of that industry, and that's probably 99 times out of 100. Clothing, no. Furniture, no. Huh. Damn. Cars. You can say we manufacture a lot of cars, but a lot of other countries manufacture cars too. But imagine having to send your people here to teach people here how to build your cars because we're now the cheaper market. There was a company that used to manufacture cars here, and they said, we're done with you. We're going over to Japan because Japan is cheaper. Yeah, that happened too. I think it happened like less than 2 weeks ago. Again, I'm giving you things that you can go look up right now and see that I'm not lying. I'm not spreading FUD. I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you the cold, hard facts. I want you to look around at all of the educational programs that are out there across the world. Across the world. You know why people come to the United States to learn? Because our universities are world renowned. Not our K through 12. They don't come here and send their kids to our K through 12 system. No. Have you lost your mind? No. They send them here for the higher education. And pretty soon they won't be doing that. So you know what's going on with our educational system now? Our municipal programs that help kids go to school. You want to know what the big push is for? Not 4-year degrees. Certifications in electrical engineering or electricians, plumbers. Yeah, blue collar stuff. They're again investing in educating our kids in the get it done jobs. They're educating our kids in the get it done jobs, and you don't need a college degree for a get it done job. And we're not just talking about electricians, plumbers, HVAC, that kind of stuff, day laborers. They're also talking about the people that actually get it done, because how is India taking all our jobs? Because they have a whole bunch of people that can get it done, that do exactly what they're told. Stop and think about that. Every place where the United States is falling down, I want you to look around the world and pick out all of the countries that are stepping up and eating all of our lunch. So when I tell you that we must invest just to survive, I'm dead serious. The people up here are going to start to realize, oh, damn, we gave too much away. What's the next biggest industry in our country if it's not technology? Can you name it? Name it for me. Put it in the comments. Name it for me. I bet you all of you are sitting there and going, what is the next biggest industry after technology? If the United States continues to give up its technology prowess, continues to outsource white-collar jobs that are in the 6-figure area, we're going to miss out. The cool thing is when I talk to some of these young kids coming out of high school, graduating from college, they are some of the best and brightest I've ever seen. And they're hungry. They're hungry to live life. They're not hungry to get rich. They're not hungry to get rich. They're hungry to enjoy life. So make enough to enjoy life. They're figuring out better than us older grumps like me, white hair, gray hair, whichever one you got. They're better at figuring out what's the definition of your enough. What does enough mean to you? Ooh. That's the next major growth space. True, but before long, people are going to stop buying cars. In fact, it's happening now, and the dealerships are hurting. Oh, that's why prices going up. The average price of cars for the first time ever has hit above $50,000. Why is that? Well, rare earth elements, the price of those have gone up. There's different things have gone up, and they're trying to maintain a certain amount of money for themselves. Now, I want you to take another step back, and I want you to understand something. That companies right now, car companies, because they're all freaking idiots, they're making it harder and harder for you to actually maintain your own car. Interesting. Because their idea is, if we make the battery life of your car 10 years, and it debilitates over time, mind you, you're going to have to buy another car. I want you to think about the waste that happens because you have to buy another car. I want you to think about the hit on insurance, because insurance says, well, as soon as you bought that car, as soon as it came off the lot, your battery was wasted. Because they're not trying to tell you how to maintain your battery, how you might be able to repair your battery, anything like that. They're banking on you having a battery that's dead, so you have to go buy another car. Interesting. They can easily make it so that you can spit out the battery, put a new one in, and it's like changing a freaking Duracell or Everready, Energizer, whatever else there is. They can make it that easy. There are Chinese cars that literally tell you, oh, if you press this button, it'll eject the freaking batteries and you can load up new ones. That's literally what they're doing. There are Chinese-made cars that rival the engineering of U.S.-made cars. That's why they're not allowed in the country. Ha ha. Yeah. Go look at some of these car reviews. And this is just one thing that I'm talking to you about. It's amazing. It's amazing. But we didn't learn enough from outsourcing manufacturing, and I mean manufacturing of everything. Probably, I mean, not even probably, better than 90% of the things in your house were not made in the USA. Here's what will really get your goat. Most of the wood, if you just had a house built, most of you'll be like, no, most of the wood in your house was made in Canada. It's grown in Canada. Yeah. Open up some of these boxes that you have going inside your house, and all these things that are going inside your house. Made in China, made in Taiwan, made here, made there. There are far fewer things made in actually the United States. All because corporate greed can't figure out what is enough. How do we sustain society? We're at the point now where we have so much debt that we can't even put our fingers on it. Yeah, it sounds insane. But the debt around the world is absolutely out of control because certain businesses decided we want more money, more money, more money, more money. And they forget that if you charge too much, people can't afford it. People definitely can't afford it if you're shipping out the jobs. Wow. You know, there used to be companies that would house workers on ships just beyond country shores so that they were in international water. And they would house them on cruise ships and they would just work. Sounds insane. It's happened. Go look it up. It's happened. Offshoring, nearshoring, it's still the outsourcing of jobs. And people wonder why I'm so attentive to what's going on from an investment perspective. This is why. Look around and look at how many people are still living at home, even though they graduated college. They came home, can't find a job. I have a friend of mine who graduated earlier this year and graduated without having a job. I am blessed. Knock on wood, I am absolutely blessed. My daughter graduated from college a couple of years ago, and she was offered multiple jobs. We're looking at a time now where if we don't pay attention, our hardest problem is going to be, how do we put food on the table? These companies want so much money for whatever it is they're selling, whatever service they're providing. They're basically cheating the system. You know what some of these companies are doing? And I told you this a couple of weeks ago, not even a couple of weeks ago, a few months ago. Some of these companies are consolidating neighborhood services. And if that's not enough, you know what the deal that they're cutting? The deal they're cutting is, we get to use your name and likeness when we take over the company. And people are giving such bags of money that they're like, yeah, sure, no big deal. Because they're not understanding that they also don't necessarily care because they got this big bag of money, right? And they're going to go retire. Their kids don't want these jobs, but they don't understand how that's affecting everybody else. I get to use your name and likeness to make everybody still think that you still own the company, even though you don't. It's owned by some large corporation who's bought up all of the plumbers or the bulk of the plumbers in an area. So the normal person goes out, gets quotes from 3 to 5 different companies and chooses the best number to do. Guess what? They don't realize they've literally just spoken to the same company. And it's just a matter of which one will get the sale. They're all about the same price, just which one was nicer. It comes down to they're going to get the money anyway, so they don't care. You catching on? Don't believe me? Okay. All right. Go to the store. Go to the store. Go to the detergent section. Just pick a section. Look at all the major brands and start to do research on the major brands and who owns what. And then you'll see what I'm talking about. This isn't a new trick. This is an old trick applied to a new space. Not kidding. I'm pretty sure this is not what people were expecting on a crypto overflow on a freaking Saturday night. Number one, I'm on doing a show. People are sitting there going, what? This isn't a Saturday rant. I'm doing research and I'm just being hit with news that just vividly paints the picture. Vividly. Gold reached record highs as Bitcoin denied, sparking debates over which asset, gold or Bitcoin, will dominate investor loyalty. That's not the story. The story is, why are people investing in gold? Why do people invest in gold? What is the situation that forces people to invest in gold? Yes, Paula, it does affect our bags. When they're not confident in the economy, that's when they invest in gold and precious metals. So gold hit brand new highs. What is it, 4,380? 4,380? What? Yeah, go look that up. While everything else is dropping. Holy freaking moly. Now we've got a problem. And you have these nitwits that are running around. Gold is outperforming Bitcoin. Go up to each one of those people and smack them dead in the face. Dead in the face. Hard enough so they feel it and remember it. And then show them the charts on how Bitcoin has been outperforming gold for years. This is a speed bump for Bitcoin. Speed bump. And if this is a speed bump for Bitcoin, that means that all of us should be investing, not saving. We're going to have to invest just to survive. I want you to be honest with yourself, and I want you to look in the mirror, and I want you to try to figure out, at what age do you think you're going to be able to retire? And that's for those of us that think we will be able to retire. That's a cold, hard question, isn't it? I'm not being mean. I'm being honest. Do you think you can retire? And then at what age do you think you will be able to retire at? And then say to yourself, if I don't invest, if I don't make my money make money for me, what kind of lifestyle will I live? Yeah. I want you to also ask yourself something. What would you be able to leave your kids? If you're lucky enough to have kids, how much do you think you'd be able to leave to your kids? Now think about what you'd be able to leave to your kids if you weren't investing. Do that math. And then I want you to practice the GMB3. Do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. I'm not trying to scare you into it. I'm just laying out the facts for you dead straight up. Every night, I close the night by saying what to you? Thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. And thank you for your trust. Those are the three things that I thank you for, is it not? And I mean it. So what am I giving you right now? I'm giving you the facts as I see it. I deliver the news and I give you my opinion about that news each and every single time. I tried my hardest to be dead straight up. I don't want anybody to ever be able to turn around and go, oh, he's a BS artist. He lied to us. You might say, oh, he was mistaken. But you're not going to say he lied to us. You know what my mother said to me when I was growing up? My mother said to me when I was growing up that it is far better to tell her the truth, whether I'm right or wrong, because then she would always be able to trust me and to never be afraid of the truth, no matter what it may bring. So I try to give you guys the truth. Every statement that I've made, every point that I've made is something that you can go do your own research on. Straight up. I shoot these videos not for you, not that I don't appreciate the community that we're building. But what's the primary reason that I create these articles, create these videos? It's for my kids. So when I speak, I'm speaking to my kids. As much as I care about you guys, I will never care about you more than the air that I breathe, and the air that I breathe are my kids. They give me the air that I breathe. So these are lessons for them that I'm sharing with everybody. I don't have a lot to give. I don't know what I'll be able to leave to my kids. But sure as hell, I can give them as much as I can about what I've learned over the years. Because that costs nothing but time to get it all out. That's why I do what I do. So I'm allowed to be wrong, but I'm not going to lie. I might get long-winded, but if you watch the video, you're going to be happy that you listened to the whole thing and not just bits and excerpts. Because I'm telling you straight up, here's the news and here's what's going on. Here's the news and here's what's going on. Here's how I feel about it. What's going on with that? What's the story? And everything that I talk about, well, 90% plus of what I talk about, there's an article on growmybag.tv that I discuss it. That I'm giving you the news and I'm just reacting to that news. When I tell you that we've got the best community out there, we really do. Because as I'm speaking, I read what you're talking about and I try to react to what you guys are saying. I try to do the whole thing. Everybody else is sitting out there and they're just going like this. It's not what I do. I don't spew. I speak with. I've had people come on and be like, oh, dude, I think maybe you need to look into this. Walmart food prices went up again last week. Shocker. I'm not here to blame one party or another. I'm not here to blame one person or another. I'm here to put blame on all of us because we're all letting it happen. We need to become more educated on what it means to invest, how money and credit actually work. How money and credit actually work. Go look up how much money there actually is in the world and go look up how much global debt there is. That will help you to understand that beyond money, there is credit. Yeah. There's a lot we have to learn. A lot. And I pray that we're never too old to stop learning. I'm no spring chicken. You can tell by all the white in my hair. My mother still learns every day. I swear, if I were to let my mother run this show, she'd do as good, if not better than me. Yeah. I will consider myself ridiculously blessed if I can do the same as my mom when I reach her age. And it is my job to help my kids be able to want and need the same. My dad would make this funny face when he took us kids shopping. Now I make that same funny face. It's the realization that prices went up. So you start to realize that there are things that we must learn. There are a whole bunch of things that we must learn. Just saying. And hopefully, we will never stop learning. Our ticket to survival is investment. And what do I always say to you guys? Your first investment is in yourself. That's your first investment. So you can't tell me no when I say do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. Because why wouldn't you absolutely invest deliberately in yourself? You can't make that argument. You absolutely cannot. Anyway, everybody, this is Eddie J on Crypto for GrowMyBag.tv. I hope you like what I'm doing. If you do me a favor, smash the likes. Tell your friends about this community because this is the only community that does what it does. The only one. We're not a bunch of people that listen to one guy spewing some stuff. We're actually a community that deals with each other, speaks with each other, learns from each other. We've got more coming. The Grow My Bag community has a hell of a lot more coming. So join in and get your friends to join in and buckle up. This is Eddie J on Crypto for GrowMyBag.tv. Hope you have a good one. I'll see you tomorrow for tomorrow's Sunday Roundup. Have a good one. Bye-bye. 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Oh, wait a minute. Hold it. Wait, don't go anywhere. I forgot to mention something. We forgot to go over tonight's question. What major exchange has partnered to launch a crypto IRAs, investment retirement accounts? Yeah, that would be Coinbase. That would be Coinbase. That's right. No joke. I forgot to give you a little bit of other news. Morgan Stanley warned that the baby boomer wealth transfer could exacerbate economic inequality due to disparities in inheritance. Shocker there. And access to generational wealth. Kind of a big deal. Kind of a big deal. This is why my nose is always in the news. Oh, yeah, by the way, a $19.5 million class action settlement in California will compensate residents up to $5,000 for unauthorized call recordings by Wells Fargo. Well, a Wells Fargo vendor. When will they ever learn people are getting tired of banks? Anyway, everybody, I will be back 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow afternoon for what? The Sunday Roundup. Everybody have a good one. Thank you. Bye-bye.